visited the Expo 2020 pavilions many times, spending many dozens of hours in the different districts of the Expo, namely mobility, sustainability, and opportunity, and also in the Al Farhan Park. But when we were going there, I was accompanied by my wife Maggie and my granddaughter Maria, who was, by the way, our official photographer and videographer for the expo. But Maggie was not generally interested in most of the pavilions or most of the objects that I was interested in looking at. For example, the Egyptian pavilion had very little attraction for her. Similarly, many other pavilions. But this attitude of indifference on her part changed drastically after our visit to the Luxembourg Pavilion. And that is an interesting story. The Luxembourg Pavilion is built like a Mobius strip in topology, where only one side is visible and where the strip has no beginning and no end. And thus, even from a distance, the Luxembourg Pavilion at the Expo attracted people. Once you come to the pavilion itself, at the very beginning, you are welcomed by a huge screen where His Highness the Archduke Henry, the constitutional head of Luxembourg, welcomes you to resourceful Luxembourg.
And Moyen, His Grand Duke and Head of State of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, I welcome you to our pavilion here at Expo 2020 in Dubai. Have a fascinating journey into resourceful Luxembourg.
Of course, Luxembourg is one of the smallest countries in the world. It ranks 167th in rank among the 194 or 95 independent countries of the world. And its population ranks 168th among the 194 or 95 countries. In fact, it is smaller than the smallest state in the United States, namely Rhode Island state. And its population is some 3 lakhs less than the population of Rhode Island. To give another example, the size of Luxembourg is only 1/16th of the size of Switzerland, and the population also is only 1/16th of Switzerland. To cite another example, Luxembourg is only 1/20th the size of the Indian state of Kerala, and the population of Luxembourg is only 1/60th of the population of Kerala. Although it is a very small country and with a very small population, its impact on European history has been very great. When I applied for a visa to Netherlands in 1975, they gave me a Benelux visa, which was valid for Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Because I already had a Luxembourg visa, I also visited Luxembourg then. Mainly, I was attracted by the beautiful little castle on top of the mountain range, and also by descriptions of the great annual festival which lasts about 2 months, where the last festival I am told had 120 different rides, and there were 100 pavilions and restaurants for that festival in Luxembourg. In many ways, the the expo itself and the Luxembourg Pavilion recaptures something of the spirit of the Luxembourg Fair. The Luxembourg Pavilion attracts a large number of people, young and old, local and foreign, especially because of the giant slide that is to be seen in the pavilion. The giant slide is something which has never been seen any of the expos ever since 1851. And in this expo also, Luxembourg is the only pavilion boasting a giant slide. From the beginning, even before visiting the expo, I was interested in this giant slide as it had been reported by many videos and newspapers. So, when we came to the Luxembourg Pavilion, I asked the volunteer at the entrance where the slide is. She pointed to the top of the pavilion and said, "It is up there." And we entered the pavilion and went gradually upwards in the Mobius strip fashion up the ramp. And while we were going up, on the left hand side, we were shown many screens containing various aspects of Luxembourg, various achievements of Luxembourg. At the very beginning, there were 70 screens in which various expats of Luxembourg, and Luxembourg has a lot of people from other countries. 170 countries are represented in the population of Luxembourg, and these 70 people were narrating their own experiences on these 70 screens as you proceed in the pavilion. And then there is a 360-degree round screen where various features of Luxembourg culture and scientific advancement are shown. For example, after showing the Burj Khalifa Tower, the tallest building in the world, It is said that the steel and glass for constructing the Burj Khalifa was mainly brought from Luxembourg. Similarly, it was also mentioned that it is the only country which still has a Grand Duchy, and as we saw earlier, His Highness Archduke Henry is the head of the constitutional head of Luxembourg. And as we proceed further and come to the top of the pavilion, which is 21 meters high, but this floor is about, I think, around 25 feet from the ground. From there, you can exit in three ways. Either you can go down by the lift, or you can again use the ramp winding down to the floor, or you can go down using the giant slide. So when we reached there, I again asked where the slide is, and they pointed to a corner of that floor where there was a cave-like opening where people had queued up. So I asked the person in charge, a Luxembourger, a lady, I asked her, can I go down the slide? Because in many slides in various parts of the world, whether it is the Walt Disney pavilions in Orlando or in California, or even in India, the Vigaland or the Kishkinda, when you go and try to enter a ride, they often ask what your age is and whether you have any heart problem. So I asked this lady, can I go down the slide? She said, okay, no problem. But only thing she said is, you have to wait 35 minutes because the queue is somewhat long. This was something which I did not like because at my age of 83, it is rather difficult to keep standing for 35 minutes like that. But anyway, I went and joined the queue. And I told Maggie and Maria to go down by the lift, and I said I will try to come by the slide. Maggie did not like this idea at all. But after some time, she came and joined me in the queue and said, I would also like to come. This really surprised me because she is 78 years old. Anyway, we were waiting, and then the security came to us and said, we can come to the front, skipping the line, so to say, and we proceeded to the cave-like opening or mouth of the slide, where we watched how people were going down the slide. And the person in charge asked me to enter leg first into a sack. I entered the sack, and she said, hold on to the handle or the rope-like handle-like thing of the sack. You hold on to that without letting it go, because if you let it go and make your hands free, it might touch the surface of the slide as you go down so fast, and it might be dangerous. And the legs were already secure because they were inside the sack. And I was about to go, and I saw Maggie also trying to enter after me. So I told her, please hold on to these handrails very strongly so that nothing amiss happens. But before I could complete my instructions, the green light was lit up and the slide began to go down so fast. In a few seconds, I think it covered the whole distance of the twisted slide and came to the bottom. I could not even look out through the glass top of the slide to see what was on either side. But anyway, when I came down from the slide, I was trying to remove the sack. Then one security came and helped me to get up because I weigh something like 95 kilos. And he also got the assistance of another security, so together they helped me to get up. And one of the officials of the pavilion was taking photographs of my coming out of the slide. When I got up, the Luxembourger lady in charge of that pavilion came and gave me brought a chair for me. I was about to sit down on the chair when suddenly looking back, I saw Maggie shooting out of the slide with a smile on her face. This was really very interesting and I was astounded and I looked at it with great pleasure. And when she got up, I shook her hands vigorously, congratulating her on her adventure. By that time, the lady had brought one more chair, so both of us sat down on the two chairs and heaved a sigh of relief. Then other people were coming down the slide one by one. They were standing behind us when we ended the slide at the top. Some of them came and shook hands with Maggie, congratulating her. And one of them told me that when Maggie was trying to enter the slide at the top, she was a little bit anxious, and the people standing in the queue also were a little bit anxious on her behalf because she did not fully understand, I think, how to get in or something. And finally, when she got into the sack and the green light lit up, there was a big clapping, a send off given to her. And therefore, some of the people who came down after us came and congratulated her and shook her hands, and many of them were smiling at her because it was an adventure. A person of her age and health uh, completing this slide journey. Right. And then the official in charge brought us a can of cold water and we took it and we got up and proceeded towards the exit when we were accompanied by the official in charge of the uh, area. And we thanked her and exited. This journey, this ride down the slide was one of the most memorable things for us in the whole Expo 2020 experience. And This, of course, drastically changed Maggie's attitude to the 2020, and also she began to discuss various aspects of the 2020 and the various pavilions much more enthusiastically than before. The pavilion tries to present Luxembourg in her various aspects. It tries to present diverse Luxembourg and connecting Luxembourg and sustainable Luxembourg, enterprising Luxembourg, and above all, the beautiful Luxembourg. And the significance of Luxembourg in European and world history is made clear because Luxembourg was a founding member of the European Union, a founding member of the United Nations, a founding member of NATO, and it was the main inspiration behind the formation of Benelux Union.